my name is Kel and I'm a therapist and educator with a special interest in eating disorders. Come on in, take a seat, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for bite-sized content across the mental health and eating disorder spectrum. As we find ourselves in what is often referred to as the most wonderful time of the year, I'd like to take this moment to talk to you about supporting those affected by eating disorders in coping with Christmas. By the time you see this video, there's perhaps only going to be around about a week until Christmas. So I'd like to try and make this as directly helpful as possible and to talk about some things which you can think more around or directly action in your final appointments if you're working with anybody affected by eating disorders this holiday season. So in this video, I'd like to cover the topics of language and Christmas, happy holiday plans, exit strategies, and support services. So let's start by thinking about language and Christmas. As a talking therapist, I feel like language is reasonably central to the work that I do, and I kind of feel like that about Christmas as well, because we use a lot of social phraseology around Christmas. This is terms such as have a very Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, or that one that I used at the start of this video, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And of course, this isn't the most wonderful time of the year for everybody. Many find the holiday season a really challenging time, especially those affected by mental health struggles. When it comes to those living with eating disorders, this can be particularly true because it can feel like Christmas is very focused around the food component of the festive experience. But getting back to my point on language for a moment, I like to be really thoughtful about my use of language, particularly around the festive period, because of this recognition that it really isn't the most wonderful time of the year for many people. That's absolutely not to say that that's true for all of my clients, and in a good number of instances it's totally appropriate for me to wish my clients a very Merry Christmas. But in some instances, there might be more need to be a little bit more sensitive than this. And I like to take some moments in these couple of weeks before Christmas to look through my diary and think about the clients that I'm working with in the coming weeks and what Christmas might mean to them. Of course, I'm not psychic, and if I haven't had these conversations with them, I don't necessarily know what the whole picture is for them. But I like to go in being thoughtful about what it is that I will say to them in relation to Christmas. Will I wish them a happy holidays? Will I bring the topic of Christmas up if they don't, for example? And if I don't know how a client is going to feel about terms like this and the use of language and the experience of Christmas, and that's a really good reason for me to bring it up as a topic and to think about what this time of year might mean for them. This kind of brings us on to the second topic, which is happy holiday plans. So I use the term happy holiday plans in place of what sometimes individuals refer to as coping with Christmas or Christmas survival plans. Of course, not all talking therapists use this type of method during the holiday season, but some of you may very well do so. And language kind of creeps over into this for me a little bit as well, because as you just noticed, I refer to them as happy holiday plans and not coping with Christmas or surviving Christmas plans. I don't like the negative connotation of looking at Christmas as something that needs to be survived. And I preference looking at Christmas as something that we can think about and frame as terms of how for each client this can be as happy as possible of an experience. If you don't already utilise these plans, I'm sure there's probably a bunch of templates out there on the internet, or you can think about this more loosely. I might utilise some actual plans, specific plans, happy holiday plans with clients, one that I've created or one that I take from a template off the internet, or I might generally just be a little bit more relaxed in thinking about bringing it as a topic to each client and what they might need in having a happy holiday season, or as much as possible creeping towards experiencing the holidays as happy this year. For the vast majority of my clients, this does include a component of conversation around about food and Christmas. It might mean encouraging them to make an appointment with their dietitian or to think about how food fits with their meal plan if they're currently on one. I might very well directly have a conversation about managing food during the Christmas period, which is not something I usually do in my therapy practice, because I feel that as a talking therapist, I want my clients to talk to me about what it is their experience is, and I don't want the focus to be on the food, because the food I see is an expression of the struggle for somebody with an eating disorder. But sometimes there is necessity to be a little bit more practical about that. And I feel like Christmas for some or many people is one of these instances. So I might start to have conversations with clients about how they're going to manage their meal plan or their relationship with food during the holiday season, particularly if there's expectations placed upon them by their social circles or their family. And that might include variations to, for example, routine. I know in my family growing up, we always ate Christmas dinner quite late on in the day, sort of 4 p.m, and we may not have had lunch. And that would be problematic for somebody who is having a meal plan which perhaps included eating every 3 hours or eating meals at particular times. And this can create extra challenges around about this type of component that it can just be helpful to touch base in and think about coping and planning strategies for. Talking about routine, for me, routine can be part of happy holiday plans as well, because of course during the festive period, routines can change. That can be because we're not at school, university, or in work, and the routine of the natural day changes. For example, there's less need to set an alarm in the morning. That could be that family routine changes, or that support that's usually available changes in terms of when and how it's available. So all of those might be components that form part of happy holiday plans. But I also like to include in happy holiday plans some component of fun and self-care. How can my client have the best time possible during the festive period, if of course they want to do that, and what it is that would give them that sense of having a happy holiday season. This could mean thinking about what parts of their family's Christmas they feel really comfortable partaking in, or what adaptations they can have to their usual festive experiences that would enable them to feel part of the Christmas celebrations, even though they may very well struggle with some of the food components in some way. This is going to be massively different from individual to individual. So in this bite-sized content today, I'm not going to have the opportunity to talk to you about what this might mean in practicality, but I'd really encourage you to have these conversations with your clients. Creating fun and self-care as central and focused parts of happy holiday plans, instead of only thinking about survival in terms of surviving Christmas plans. So moving on from both of those points and moving on to exit strategies, I kind of see this as an add-on to the happy holiday plan. So an exit strategy is thinking about how the person affected by the eating disorder or any mental health condition, or anybody that needs an exit strategy for Christmas, can get out of any commitments that they've made if it's not in the best interest of their well-being to continue to participate. This might be about having conversations with individuals that they're socialising and spending time with in advance and letting them know that they might need to retreat for periods. That might be about letting people know that they may wish to leave early, take breaks, or that they need something different in order to have the best experience they can of the happy holiday season. This again is going to look grossly different from individual to individual, dependent on how much their family and their support circle and their social circle is involved in their eating disorder care and recovery journey, and how much they even know about their experiences with mental health. So for example, somebody who's very open with their family might find it significantly easier to have direct conversations with people about exit strategies and say, hey, do you know what, if this happens or I'm feeling this way, I might need to leave, please don't take it personally, versus maybe the client being prepared themselves in the moment to have conversations to make ways to get themselves out of situations when it's no longer in the best interest of their eating disorder recovery. And this is bearing in mind that when we're struggling with our mental health, normal social activities can sometimes feel overwhelming and exhausting, and this is kind of an extended experience at Christmas. So this is not in any way about avoiding Christmas, and this exit strategy is not something that's to be seen as a survival thing that we need to get out of this situation, but it's about taking control of the individual's well-being themselves and thinking about their needs as part of the wider celebrations of Christmas as well. This lastly brings us on to support services at Christmas. I think it's really important to be clear with clients, or at least it is for me, about what my plans are for Christmas. And I don't mean who I'm having my Christmas dinner with. I mean if and when I'm going to be available over the holiday season. What days am I working in the build up to Christmas? Am I working between Christmas and New Year? Am I working in the first days of New Year? it might be that it's of benefit to book those appointments in, a few of them in advance, particularly if they're on different days or at a different frequency than they might usually be. And if there is an extended period there where you're going to be unavailable to them, it might be necessary to think about additional and alternative support that might be helpful over the festive period. I'm going to link below this video 2 blog posts that I've written in the past couple of months about support services for mental health needs. One of these is particularly related to Beat the Eating Disorder charity and the services and support helplines that they have, and the other is related more generally to mental health needs and coping, which might all be helpful potentially as additional services to access during this period. And I just want to highlight here that Beat the Eating Disorder Services helpline is actually available on Christmas Day, as is Samaritans and a number of these other services. If we don't take some time to think about this with our clients and directly have plans and give some signposting for how to cope, we could leave them in a tricky situation where we're perhaps not checking our emails, or we're unavailable for a regular appointment, and it's even possible that it would be more challenging to access general healthcare services if they needed to. So it's really good just to have those available just in case. But again, thinking about how that's communicated, going right back to the beginning of this video and thinking about language and Christmas, that this is something that you can access if it might be helpful to access it, rather than talking about it as, if crisis happens, please call this helpline. So I really like to be proactive and hopeful in my communications about the challenges of this festive period with my clients, while also working towards potentially helping them have the best experience they can and them feeling as supported as possible and as equipped as possible to cope with the holiday period. It really can be a tricky one, but trying to keep this as bite-sized content, I am essentially going to leave this as your information about supporting individuals affected by eating disorders at Christmas. I'm not going to have any more time between now and Christmas to create any more content here myself, as I'm going to be taking care of myself this Christmas as well. But if there is some content related to eating disorders and Christmas that it would have been really helpful to have this Christmas, it would still be helpful for me to hear about that in the comments section, because I can use those as ideas for content next year, when perhaps my YouTube channel will be a little fuller and I will have a little bit more runtime to think about the content that I make here. If you're wondering how you can give me some holiday cheer, you can subscribe to this YouTube video, you can give it a thumbs up, and you might even want to share it with some people. I am going to be taking a few weeks off from posting videos over the Christmas and New Year period, but I'll be back with both videos here and blogs over on my website mentalhealthbites.co.uk in just a couple of weeks' time. I do hope that you have the best Christmas you can manage. Be kind, be curious, be yourself.